are
Annie and Konstantin.
and you're watching another episode of
Updates.
Sick Chicken Edition.
We did make some pretty good progress this week on the master's theses. We have a pretty good outline for Konstantin's thesis, which is going to lead into very exciting ongoings for the depression and anxiety life hacks.
So my thesis is going to be basically the conceptualization of the crowdfunding campaign for the depression and anxiety life hacks, and we did a little brainstorming session today, which was very productive because we came up with an idea we didn't have before, like how to expand the project even further, including yet another medium besides video and a website, this being like a little book, a little field manual.
The sort of thing you can just stick in your purse, and when you're, out and panicking or having a depression attack, it's your companion that you can just pull out of your pocket and have like a first aid kit in the form of a book.
And we think this is a pretty neat idea, but I think the most interesting part of this whole campaign is going to be like we will come up with ideas like what is stuff that's nice, that we would enjoy, that we would like to see part of that project, and then just see how people will react to it, to what parts of the project people will respond in what way. So I think this is like, for me, a very, very exciting part of the journey, just coming up with ideas and then getting immediate feedback from the audience.
Beyond that, we are probably going to start looking for collaborators soon for that book and also for the project as a whole, because there's a lot to do, and it turns out that just two people aren't quite enough to get it done. So if you're interested in working with us, hit me up, I suppose.
Hit her up.
Email in the doobly-doo.
Yay! Switch of perspective. How do you like us now?
It's always so exciting when we move the camera around. I was really stuck on my thesis for a good long while. It was really difficult to really figure out the direction I want to go and what exactly I want to do with it and why I'm doing it and who I'm doing it for. And I think I'm now at that place where I'm very slowly starting to come out of that academic intellectual fog and starting to kind of see what I want to do with it and why. And it's a little bit hard still because we're writing about things that are only just starting to exist. I am writing about a future in art that I am envisioning and that I believe is already here, but it's not prevalent, it's not powerful, it's not what we think of when we think of art. And I'm slowly coming to terms with the fact that that's basically precisely what writing a thesis is for. I mean, sometimes in any sort of research you have a problem that you need to solve, and sometimes you're legitimately trying to change the world. You're writing about things that you're seeing that matter to you because you want to establish them, and that's exactly what I'm doing. The whole point of my thesis is going to be social filmmaking, so art in a social context. And whenever I say that, people go, oh, like Snapchat. I'm like, no. And then I touch on, the issue of crowdfunding, and people go, oh yeah, like, just using the audience to like get your film made. And it's like, no, you have this like super limited view of the possibility, because crowdfunding isn't about give me money, it's about, hey, I have this idea, do you like it? And when the audience says, hey, yeah, sure, we want to see that, then the film gets made, the project gets made, the thing gets realized. It's a much closer collaboration between the audience and the artist that leads to a whole new kind of art that isn't done when it's done, but that lives on, in the social sphere and how it's shared and how it's interacted with later on. And that fascinates me, and I love that. I love free art on the internet that is there for us and that we were a part of creating. And I love being a part of creating precisely that. So that is the whole framework in which my thesis is happening, and my focus will be on the artist, the modern artist in that social sphere, how they understand themselves, why they are doing what they're doing, and what that means for their art and for their audience. Now, how precisely that's gonna happen is not totally clear yet, but I got another 2.5 semesters to figure that out.
In the last couple of months, I took a break from improv. Not a sporadic break where I am there from time to time, but like a cold turkey. So I haven't been in the improv on stage or at a rehearsal or whatever in February, March, April, and up until mid-May. I'm just coming from an improv weekend. This improv weekend where around 25 very nice but slightly odd people come together to hang around, to play improv, to eat foods, to get drunk, and to have a good time. Again, I've been thinking about stories and how easily the audience connects to stories, even if those stories manifest themselves in the exact moment they are being witnessed. Obviously, an improv story can't be as complex as a thoroughly constructed written story which you read or which you play along with, because writing is rewriting. And no matter how good the improv player are, an improv piece is always a first draft. Always. And still, people connect very well to that first draft if it's in itself concise. And they forgive you a lot if the characters are plausible, if they react in a plausible way. The audience forgives you weird things happening, surreal things happening, like a world which is completely different from our world. These are all things the audience forgives you, and somehow I forgot it. Right now, what's on my mind is I want to get back into fiction writing and telling fictional stories. These stories that I want to write, obviously they need to be more polished, but they don't have to be perfect as long as the characters around. It's just the realization how much the audience forgives you is, I think, very important in improv, and it is going to be important my work that is going to be here. If the world is concise, audience will forgive you and maybe even embrace it because you show them things they haven't seen before. Yes.
So my epiphany today comes to you courtesy of Konstantin, who pointed out again recently that I have a strong tendency when I'm talking about things I believe and things that are happening by using the second person. I don't say, when I do this and that. I say when you do this and when you're dealing with blah blah. Go back through my epiphanies. It's awful. It's everywhere. I have mixed feelings about this. For one, I really like the word you. Because in the English language, the word you can mean fricking anything. It can mean you, that one person. It can mean you, bunch of people. It can mean you, anyone, everyone, someone, who cares. You is an incredibly versatile word, and it's an incredibly poetic word in that it's so inspecific. And so in my mind, it always feels very appropriate to use you, because I'm talking to, the select some of you who also feel the same way as I do. But it also limits what I say. It removes me from what I say. Just a little bit. Or a whole lot. Because language is freaking powerful and it's one of those cool things you can do with it. I really want to work on that, to take ownership of my words and to stick to the first person when I'm talking about things that I am believing, that I am experiencing, that happened to me. And it's a kind of linguistic mindfulness thing that is making talking a little bit harder and that is making talking a whole lot more emotional yet again, because it removes that safety barrier of it not being necessarily me, but a bunch of us, probably, or someone, could be anyone, doesn't have to be me. It's one of those plausible deniability things. I said you would feel this way or think or experience that, and say I did. And I don't like plausible deniability. It bothers me. It's a cop-out. It's a cheap way around things. So I am working on using the word I more often because I need to come to terms with the fact that I have these thoughts and feelings and experiences, and they matter more because of that.
Sick Chicken edition. Because as you may or may not see and hear it, I am a sick chicken. But it's okay, because sometimes you have to be a sick chicken to appreciate not being a sick chicken. This is my epiphany. See you next week. Anne is the best to be around when you're a sick chicken because she does a lot of stuff and also brings you cookies.
Sick people get cookies, it's a rule.
We're like triple packed.
That is obnoxious.
Breaking news, thief escaped.
Last night, an unknown person broke into the local cookie factory and stole half a ton of cookies. The security guard did not notice the burglary. The police only discovered a little bunch of blue fur.
That's not funny, the Beugler Cookies Bakery. That's not funny. Hello!